Well, this is where the neuroscience comes in really handy, because I have learned the different areas of my brain that I can use in better ways through the neuroscience. For example, I now know that if I take on too much, and if there's too much stimulation, the stress curve and the impact on my goal direction, empathy, clarity, memory, all the executive functions from the prefrontal cortex, the more I take on, the more the capabilities will be impaired. So I have learned to stay in this zone of stimulation and stress, to not go over the curve where it becomes so much that I can't think clearly anymore. So the neuroscience has really helped me understand my thinking and where it gets to be a challenge and why. And I think that is the incredible benefit of learning how the brain works. Because we suddenly begin to understand why we do the things we do, and why some of the things work and why some of the things don't work, because it is related to neuroscience.
Wow.
And so, so I've learned to not overstimulate myself so that I don't lose, my executive function capabilities. But I've also learned that, I can't keep everything in here. And so, there's another sort of researcher, her name is Annie Murphy Paul. If you get a chance to get her book, The Extended Mind. The Extended Mind, Annie Murphy Paul.
Okay.
It's a very, very good book that helps us understand that in modern times, our brain can't keep that stuff in here anymore. We've just way overextended our capabilities to think clearly. And so the extended mind is the philosophy that we need to offload what's in here into other areas. And so having a to-do list, a vision board, a whiteboard where you can move things around, things that become visual, help us offload what's in here in terms of thoughts.
Wow.
And frees up space. So I have learned to offload, so that I only keep in here what I need in this moment.
Wow. And that will happen.
So that I don't get distracted about the next thing. And it's like, that's offloaded already. The next thing is offloaded. It's already in a file. It's on my calendar. It's on my to-do list, on a sticky note. It's in a reminder. So that's already handled. So my brain doesn't have to hold that now in here while I'm talking to you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
So that book is mind-blowing. It's fabulous. It's extremely well written. Lots of stories, and not sort of so scientific that, she'll lose the reader, but I can highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Annie Murphy Paul. Right, and the book
Annie Murphy Paul.
And the book, The Extended Mind.
The Extended Mind.
I will definitely look forward to that book, and I also look forward to contact her and send your message to her. You are the one who introduced me to the.
Yes,
to her
you
works.
can tell her that. You can tell her there's a fan club out there in the coaching world. That she might not be aware of, and we love her work and her research, and we use it all the time in coaching. So, if you get to talk to her, you can say there's a big group of people out there that love your work.
So everything you touch is really flourish, right? How did you do that?
So a couple things, and we mentioned it before, the work ethic, the discipline, the accountability, putting in the time, being willing to sacrifice and say no to one thing and yes to the other. You know, when we're in our career, we have to be very disciplined and accountable and have that work ethic and do what we need to do to build up that flight plan and confidence, which is a byproduct of our work ethic and our disciplines. So that's foundational. But also, it goes back to the wingman philosophy of others who helped me. When I first decided to become an entrepreneur, I joined the National Speakers Association, which I know you're familiar with. So many other folks who coached and mentored me and took me under their wing and who I built relationships with, who I had the courage to say the three most important words in life, which are, I need help. To be transparent and honest enough to reach out to people and say, hey, help me. I'm afraid. I don't know. And to build relationships with people and to be around others who are giving, who have that servant mentality, who give their wings away. And so that was a big part of my career and in my life, finding those mentors and coaches and friends who quite frankly gave me the inspiration and advice to step out of my comfort zone and to do what needed to be done. I have a saying, you know, make your friends your mentors and your mentors your friends. Mm. And so we need to think about our friends and make sure that they inspire us and coach us, and who may make us feel uncomfortable, who may call us out if they see us not doing our best or sacrificing our honor and our integrity, who tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. And so I love that part in the military. We spent time with great people, sharp men and women, and my friends, sharp, confident, but they pushed me, they embarrassed me in front of, just by myself, who say, Waldo, you could do better than that. You know, what were you thinking? You need to be doing A, B, and C, and coaching me through these things, because many times we have blind spots in our lives. You know, when we're strapped in our plane, we can't see behind us. Mm-hmm. Right? Have you heard the expression check six? Have you ever heard that expression? No. Check six. And so check six means, hey, when you're strapped into your plane, barely able to move in your little cockpit, you can only see out front and to the side, right? You can't see behind you. You don't know if you're leaking fuel or on fire. Oh, one of my missiles dropped. You can't see if you're leaking fuel or on fire. You don't know if an enemy aircraft's coming up at you, right? However, if you have somebody on your wing at your right 3 o'clock or left 9 o'clock, if you can picture the clock, it's easier for them to look over their shoulder to see what you can't see. And then to call out the threat. So if I'm flying with you, and a missile's coming at you, I'll say, hey, missile. At your 6 o'clock, break right, or break left. Like, I'll tell you to take action. I'll tell you to maneuver. Hmm. And so you won't second guess me. You won't, ask if you should break left if I told you to break right. We have a relationship. We have trust. This bond that's built on the ground through our relationships, through our integrity and our connection, so that when we're airborne and the missiles are coming, you can trust me and I can trust you. So part of success in my life, and I think part of the success in all of our lives, is to have folks who have our back, who have our blind spot, who see what we can't see. Mm-hmm. And to give us feedback and to tell us what we need to hear and not what we want to hear, to get our ego out of the way. So always being coachable and always being approachable from your teammates and seeking out others. That's a big reason why I've been a success. National Speakers Association is because of it. People like you, who I know we're just building a relationship, but I guarantee somebody like you could give feedback on my life, on my health and fitness, on my relationships, on my business. Opened the doors for me in Vietnam, and I can hopefully open some doors for you, because we have this bond now, this connection that starts with the heart and then goes to the hand. And the hand, it's about pushing up the throttle and performing. And so those relationships count. And when we have the courage to seek for seek others for help. And we also realize that it's part of our responsibility and passion and our servant mindset to give others our wings. Beautiful. And to lift others who may be in the dungeon of doubt, and to be there for them. I think that's an important part of being that wingman or wingmam, that trusted partner.
Psychologically, we're 10 times more afraid of losing what we have than not getting what we want, right? Like, we are so protective of what we already have. It's just a biological thing. But the reality is that when we're losing what we have every day, we lost yesterday, you know, because now it's today. We lost our childhood to become an adult. Like, there's loss as part of life, but we've set ourselves against it. As a people, like especially as corporate entities, we set ourselves against loss, which is kind of like setting yourself against death. It's like, you can if you want, but you will always lose that. You know, like, you're going to die. We're going to lose what we had to get what we want. Like, that's just how it is. And so I think that what has happened to leaders is that they're surrounded by a scarcity understanding of the world. They have to protect what they have, and they don't have the skills to realize, you know, they might consciously, cognitively know, I can't get what I want actually without these other people. But other people are messy. They're full of problems. You know, they think differently than you. They stop you from fastly pursuing what you want. But we don't feel like we have the skills to actually work with those people to get what we want. And so instead, we do what the human does, right? We collapse down into a scarcity mindset, and we protect what we already have. And that is not a kind place to be. A dog backed into a corner, afraid of being hit, is not a kind dog. And a human backed into a corner, afraid of losing their job and their financial security and their kids' future, is not a kind person. And so I think that kindness comes from relaxing into the belief that whatever happens, I've got the skills to handle it. And if I don't have the skills now, I can develop those skills.